Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Find somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this internet is going to be decent. Diggity damn. Well, we'll see what happens. The internet has been very, very weird lately. A lot of storms been passing through, that kind of thing. So hopefully the internet will be nice. Hopefully the internet will be nice. My fingers are crossed because it's been acting a fool. Okay, I'm just gonna be real. So hopefully it'll bounce back up. We'll see what happens. All right. But as long as you guys can see me, that's all that matters. Or, you can hear me. We need to talk about this because we got some big breaking news going on here. And hopefully the internet will be nice. Nope. There we go. Okay. It's better than nothing. We're just going to have to do what it do. All right. I guess a slice of pizza is still a slice of pizza. All right. So anyway, we got to get into this. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you're watching on Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. Make sure you're hitting that follow button. Follow. Don't forget to hit that subscribe. Like I said again a second ago, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please and thank you. I promise you the internet is a lot better. My streams are a lot cleaner than this, okay? But we got to get into this. I got to tell you guys this information, at least this main piece of information, all right? So make sure you hit that subscribe button here on my main channel. Go to my other YouTube channels, The Pascal Show Clips, Pascal Raw. Make sure you're subscribed over there as well. That would be amazing, all right? Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random, all right? Also, don't forget to hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com, okay? We got some really great stuff over there. Go check it out, all right? All righty then, we got to get into this conversation, okay, guys? This is some crazy, crazy stuff. Something that I heard late last night, and it was just way too late, and of course, my internet was being a big pain in the ass yesterday as well, yesterday night. And so obviously it has just been one thing after another with this whole internet situation. But like I said, we gonna keep it moving. We gonna do what it do. All right. But we do have some updates here that I think are very, very important. Now, of course, we all have been following this whole Kada Scott case. We have all been wanting to get justice for this young woman that, of course, her body was found out in this abandoned school, in this abandoned schoolyard, right? And of course, we're going to be looking at a bunch of things, if God willing, if the internet is willing. It looks like that everything's chill right now, which is good, okay, as far as the reception and everything. So good. The internet spirits want me to cover this and talk to you guys about this because I think this is a very, very big deal, all right? There is something that happened late last night that I was like, oh my damn, we have definitely got to talk about this. We can't not talk about this new update that seems to be just kind of flowing under the radar in a way. And I'm like, no, this needs to be brought out. People need to be talking about this. And so I'm going to break it to you. Okay. So here's the thing. As we already know. All right. Oh, be careful now, Amber Clark. Okay, last time somebody said, I rebuke thee in the name of Jesus, they lost their life. Okay, you got to be careful. Some people take that as aggression. All right, Sonia Massey, R.I.P. and justice for Sonia. But moving on, okay, by the way, that's a trial that's happening right now as we speak, just so you know. All right, jury selection has started for Sonia Massey out in Peoria, Illinois, just so y'all know. Okay. But here it is. Sorry for the ADHD cranking like crazy right now. But here's the thing. We all know about what happened. Well, we don't know what happened to Kada Scott. That's one thing that they did not tell us. We don't know if she was attacked in a vicious way. We don't know if it was blunt force trauma. We don't know anything. All we do know is that Keon King, that monster, in fact, let me pull up their photos real quick. We just know that this monster, Keon King, is responsible for her disappearance. Now, I think a lot of us are going to be asking a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions because we heard that, hey, he took a different car. Apparently, he stole this car on October 3rd. October 4th is when she went missing. And then, of course, several days later, she was found in a shallow grave in the schoolyard of an abandoned school, okay? Ada H. Lewis, middle school, if I'm correct. All right. If I have the title in my head correct. All right. Now, all we know is that he's being charged with arson, conspiracy, stealing of a car, theft, right? But still no M charge. I want to make that abundantly clear. Still no M charge. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why. Okay? Here's the reason why I think this is going on. All right? One, I think that there are some, well, first off, I think there's other people involved. Let me explain. He is being charged with not only arson, not only, stealing of a car. He's also getting charged with conspiracy. Now, conspiracy means when a group of people, more than just two people, come together to conspire or to do some sort of crime. They come up with the plan and then they do the crime, right? Now, let me just say this. We don't know, okay? We don't know if that this group of people or more than just him were involved in the actual crimes that were committed onto Kada. But we do know, I'm sorry, but we still are wanting to know, does it have anything to do with that? Or is it conspiracy to just burn the car, cover up the crimes? You see what I'm saying? You got to remember, let me tell you this again. Let me remind you. And yes, I know the screen is blurry. Just ride with me, y'all. Okay? Sorry, but it is what it is today. The internet is just trash. Don't know why, but it's been a lot of storms coming through. So the internet is not great. As long as you guys can hear me and see me to a certain extent, that's all that matters, okay? Here's the thing. Conspiracy means that there's more than just one person. It's more than just Keon King, this monster, okay? More than this dude was involved in something that had to do with either the unaliving and God knows what other crimes that were done against her, and possibly the cover up of Kada Scott. Let me remind you, someone called in an anonymous tip and said, get your butts back out there. I want to remind you, people were searching that area. Let me repeat this again. People were searching the area, including 5-0. They combed the entire grounds, rolled up their sleeves, and was out there looking for Kada. And then they said, you know what? She's not here. We're done. We're done. We got to go. Maybe she's somewhere else. Maybe we go back in that room and we really press on Keon hard, and he might confess. She's right there over by the, you know what I mean? She's in my basement, whatever the hell it is, right? But no, they left because they found nothing. when they were searching for her. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bring, bring. Yo, you need to go back out there. She is out there. Get your butts back out there. I'm telling you, go get her. And what happened? They went back to a very specific area and they found her. What does that tell you, guys? It can tell you a couple different things. Okay. Let me just put this up for a little bit so everybody can see that. All right. Thank you, Debbie. Here's the thing. I want to make this abundantly clear. All right. Why would there be an anonymous tip like that out of nowhere? It's not like just some random person is like, I don't know. It's not like there's a Christopher Walken out there that has the dead zone abilities and just touches somebody's hand and goes, whoa, she's over there. No, someone knows something. Remember the word conspiracy. Remember the charge conspiracy. It's because somebody was involved. Somebody or somebodies were involved in possibly covering up as small. It sounds really messed up, but because all of this is big, but I'm saying it could have just been somebody involved in the cover up, that he did these things, did these crimes, and he had somebody out there show up and help him move the body, light the car on fire, etc. Think about it for a second. Why would somebody call into the cops and tell them exactly where the body is? And then they go to that very specific area and they find the body. At least that one. Don't worry, we're going to get to that conversation in a second. Pretty wild stuff, right? Most definitely, Nisha. He had help. This was strategically carried out. And it could have been strategically and ritualistically or habitually carried out. I know that sounds sinister, but it's kind of one of those things. We have been dealing with a lot of, when we talk about things on this show, we deal with a lot of crazy mother lovers out here. Do we not? We deal with a lot of madness and people that are absolutely insane. We deal with our fair share of serial monsters to first timers, etc. Right? Could this guy have more than just one victim? And I'm saying more than just one victim that's gone. That soul has left its body, that they are no longer here. More than just one unaliving. And I think that might be a situation here. Don't worry, we're going to get into it. I want you to remember conspiracy, conspiracy, conspiracy. Okay? I think that's very important to remember. Now, we're going over to Fox 29 because I want you guys to hear it from the horse's mouth themselves. Okay? They say it themselves, but they say it in a way like they say it in passing, like it's, you know what I mean? Like I had a nice cup of tea today. It's like, no, this is a very big deal. This is a very big deal. Even their title says police conduct another search at the former Ada Lewis Middle School. Why would they go back and do another search? Sure, maybe they were, maybe some other things were going on. Maybe her, maybe a few of her items were out there, so they had to go get those things. Or maybe they found the weapon, okay, that may have been the thing that took her life, etc. But no. The search is because of something else that's going on. And they just kind of throw it in here. You're going to hear it, and it's like, what? It's insane. This is a big deal in my personal opinion. So again, please do me a favor, okay? I see a bunch of y'all in here. Thank you so much for tuning in, Okay. Yes, I'm a little blurry, but hey, the internet gods, definitely want me to give you this info. So let's freaking go. So do me a favor, okay, before we get into everything. Again, hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way the freak up, okay? Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow, all right? Please and thank you. All right, let's get into this conversation. This is crazy. Just don't worry. I'll pause when it's there, because they say it quickly. Just ride with me.
The Philadelphia medical examiner confirming today that it was her remains found behind a vacant school over the weekend. The suspect charged with her kidnapping is now facing new criminal charges. Keon King is accused of arson, causing or risking catastrophe, and conspiracy. The list is long. A vigil to remember Kada just wrapping up about an hour ago at the Ada H. Lewis Middle School in East Germantown.
Ada Scott mattered. Her life matters. She was a kind woman. Tragedy strikes here in Philadelphia, and nothing can cease the pain that this family is going through.
Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Sheba Russell. The search for Kada lasting 2 long weeks. She was first reported missing on October 4th after arriving for her job at a senior living facility in Chestnut Hill. King surrendered 10 days later. And then on Saturday, human remains were discovered, which investigators confirmed as Kada. Investigators had previously searched that vacant middle school, but returned after a tipster told them to go back. It's less than 3 miles from the senior living facility where Kada worked.
Now, again, first off, you see that body was found, remains were found 3 minutes away from her actual job. Okay. And there are some theories. Okay. Don't worry. I got to go in and out for this, I got to cut it in and out of the video for copyright reasons and all that crap. But here it is. You got somebody who was taken. How she was taken, we do not know. It could have been a situation where you never know. You got to remember, he was a pharmacist. He was the local pharmacist. You never know. He may have been like, yo, I'm in the area. I got that good. What's good? Right? Come through. And she's like, all right, cool. So she goes out there. Maybe she got in the car, maybe to do a little smoky smoke. You never know. And then he said, well, I'm just going to keep on driving. That could have been it. Maybe there was no struggle to get her in the car. Maybe she got into the car willingly to, get that hookup. She had a long day. She was about to get into a long day at work. Maybe she was like, no, let me entertain myself. This is going to be a long day of dealing with old people. So yeah, let me, partake, right? She gets in the car, no big deal, a little smoky smoke, and he just pulls off. That's possible. Or it could also be sinister, as he just took her, right? With somebody else. That's what I still think. I still think he didn't operate alone in taking her as well. That's what I think. All right. So let me just say that real quick. Okay. But maybe she got in there willingly. Maybe she did not get in there willingly. All the possibilities are still there. She still went out there to talk to somebody. And she went to talk, I guess, to the likes of him. Still, no matter what, 3 minutes down the road, her body is found somewhere else. I mean, obviously several days later, but you get what I'm saying. Not very far from where she was picked up at, taken from. Okay. Let me just say that real quick. All right. Now, y'all, this is just crazy. I have so many questions about the facility that she worked at, her job place. I got so many questions about that too. I'm side-eyeing the hell out of everybody. Everyone's a suspect, in my personal opinion, at this point, because they haven't really said anything except, oh, he the bad guy, and that's it. And I'm like, word? That's it? Word? Are you sure? Word? No. There's more. There's more. Why would somebody call in with an anonymous tip? Anonymous tip Okay, there was 2 different anonymous tips that happened. One in the very beginning of this search and one to find her body. There were 2 different anonymous tips. Remember that? I'm going to have to look that up to get the specifics on the first anonymous tip, but there was an anonymous tip in the very beginning of everyone going, where is Kada? And then there was a second anonymous tip saying, no. Hey, yo, 5-0, get your butts back out there, bro. She out there. Right next to that mother-loving tree. You feel me? Come on now. Who is the anonymous tipster? Who? Let me continue. It's going to get thicker than a Snicker. Hold on.
And based on surveillance video, investigators say they believe she was killed shortly after leaving work the day she disappeared. Our Kelly Rule has been following the investigation closely. She has the latest from the former Ada Middle School.
Investigators have not announced who killed Kada or how she died. That's part of an active and ongoing police investigation, and they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today, and as they are testing that evidence, police held the scene. Active and ongoing police investigation, and they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today, and as they are testing that evidence, police held the scene. Investigators have not announced who killed Kada or how she died. That's part of an active and ongoing police investigation, and they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today, and as they are testing that evidence, police held the scene.
One more time, just to let it soak all the way down to your plums, shall we? Yeah, I think we're going to do that.
Active and ongoing police investigation, and they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today, and as they are testing that evidence, police held the scene.
Okay, now, first off, I already know some people are going to be the naysayers out here. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the naysayers really quick, because some of y'all are gonna be, yo man, come on man, that's cap. Nah, man, nah, that's nah. Here it is. Sure, there are possibilities of her not being together. Does that make sense? There are possibilities that her body may have fallen apart, but I doubt it. It was only several days. This is not several months. This is not Celeste Rivas, where her body was literally just falling apart. Okay, this has nothing to do with that. Her body was still intact. Kada's body. That's what I truly believe. They would have been able to get all of her stuff together. Okay, they would have combed through the entire shallow grave to make sure that every little bit of her was with her before they left the crime scene. Let me just say that really quick. I'm just letting you know, okay, to make this abundantly clear that it has nothing to do with Kada Scott's remains. Here's another one. Numero dos, okay? There was uno, now this is dos. Let's talk about this here really quick, because some of y'all are going to be like, oh, man, that just be animal remains. Why would they say that they found another set of remains if it was like a dead dog? You realize that's a waste of time, right? They're not going to report that or let reporters know that they found another set of remains if it was Fido back there in them damn darn hills. No. Another set of remains were found in the same area that they were looking for Kada at. That is a very big freaking deal. You mean to tell me that Kada's the only victim here? Unalived victim here? You know what? Nah, bruh. We gonna roll back. We gonna roll it back again. I want y'all to hear this all the way to the nosebleed seats. One more again. As soon as I heard this last night, I was like, like I wanted to get up and do a live so fast because I was like, what the hell? And the way that they're talking about it, another another set of remains have been found. Say what? And nobody talking about this? Word? Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. One more time though. One more time. I want you guys to hear it. Use your ears.
Ongoing police investigation, and they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today, and as they are testing that evidence, police held the scene.
Like I said, it is not animal remains, okay? They would have been like, oh, well, you found more, dead animals, that kind of thing. Remains were found, period. Remains were found. Now they're testing it to find out who that person is. Period, point blank. This is a massive deal. Why, you may ask? Because here's the thing. This could very well be a situation where Keon or anybody else that was involved in unaliving Kada Scott, this could very well be their dumping grounds. This could very well be the spot where they hide all of their sins and all of their crimes. The fact that they found more remains in that area is astounding. Astoundingly disturbing. How's that? Because astounding sounds like it's a positive thing. It's not. Is Kada Scott the only murder victim of Keon King? Or is there more to this? Remember, this is more than just one person with this conspiracy charge that he's got. More than one person helped him cover up the crime, at least. What is really going on here? Now, I did talk to you guys about this, okay? In another video. Don't worry, I'm going to play the rest of this, but I just want to say this. Gabby, the Gabby video, I highly recommend you guys going back to the Gabby video, taking a look at that for yourself, okay? Now, here's the thing. The Gabby video, all right, it's very questionable too, because you got to remember, at least according to Gabby, and like I said, I'll put the link in the chat here in a second. She even said herself that Keon was asking her questions about Kada. Now, everybody and their mama's been staring, like hard side-eyeing Gabby, okay? And I truly think, all right, I think it was an innocent situation. I think Gabby is innocent. I know a lot of people are side-eyeing Gabby, but she ain't even in the area. So the question is, was she in the area during the time that Kada went missing? If she was in the area at the time that Kada was missing, then yeah, we all should be side-eyeing the hell out of her. But if she was at college in Maryland during the time that this young woman went missing, she may have no connection to this at all whatsoever, except being friends with Keon. And maybe more than just friends with Keon, okay? Here's the other thing too, because in that video, which I highly recommend you guys go check it out, he even said, or she even said herself, that he was asking questions about Kada. And she was just answering those questions. Nonchalant, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It seemed like he wanted to step to her, wanted to, chop it up. He thought maybe she was cute. And maybe she was saying certain things like, yeah, she works at this facility and she does this, that, and the third, right? As he's asking about the girl that is in her neighborhood. That could literally be what happened here when it comes to Gabby. Or it could be safe to assume that maybe something else was going on, jealousy or something of that sort. But nonetheless, though, Gabby did admit to having conversations with Keon. It could literally have been an innocent conversation, and he just started locking all that information in his brain as he was becoming more and more disturbingly obsessed with Kada Scott. Think about that. I know it's very easy for us to just start, running amok, losing our minds, and trying to make Gabby look like she's a culprit or someone who's contributing to this crime. There is no proof of any connection between that woman and Kada Scott's losing her life. So back over to here, though, and don't worry, I'll put the link in the chat. But back over here, though, you see for yourself, like, they found more remains. And of course, they're going to test it. And I guarantee you it's not Kada's. So who could that be? Who could that be? Like I said, if it was an animal, this would not be reported. They would not make a big deal about finding more remains if it was a doggone dog. Real talk. So this reporting is a very big deal and could mean that Keon or whoever else was working with him have done this more than just once. Let me point this out too. And Jay Blaze, sure, there's a lot of bodies, I'm sure, in Philly. I'm sure there are. But why would they find human remains in the same area unless this was a known dumping ground for multiple people, multiple criminals? That's possible. But real talk, let's look at Rex Heuermann. Let's look at the BTK, not the BTK, I'm sorry, the Gilgo Beach unaliver for a second, right? Remember Gilgo Beach? All the bodies that were strewn across this area? Sure, there's a possibility that more than just one monster out here is dumping bodies in specific areas, but what are the chances of that? It's very slim. So you mean to tell me that this is just the known spot? What, we got a chat room on a very dark Reddit chat forum where they go, yeah, dump your bodies over there at Ada Lewis Middle School. That's where you need to go and put it at. No. This person, whoever did this, which is most likely Keon, found a place that he wanted to dump the body. And if these remains are definitely human and have something to do with this whole situation, and they may be connected to Keon King. Like I said, this could very well mean that Kada is his second victim or more. This is a very, very big deal, guys. And it's just going under the radar, which is insane to me. Let me get some of these super chats here really quick, or these members chats. Thank you so much for being a member, Fly Girl, for 18 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pascal, for all your hard work. Of course. Mimi, thank you so much for the super sticker. And of course, thank you, Wanda, for being a member for almost a year. We're almost there. The police needs to dig up the whole area to see if there's more. Absolutely. You got remains that were found. This is a very, very big deal. So now it's an active crime scene, period. It's an active crime scene because there could be other spots where there are more remains. Like I said, if this was animals and animal remains, they would not be talking about this. They would not be reporting it. They would just keep it moving. But no, they found more remains. So let us play a little bit more. I'm going to roll it back a little bit because I know some of y'all showing up a little late to the show. But this is a very big deal.
Remains, another active search happening And they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today. And as they're testing that evidence, police held the scene.
I just felt moved to come over there to lay some at her memorial.
As Philadelphia police conducted another search today at the former Ada Lewis Middle School, a growing memorial for 23-year-old Kada Scott. Her body found behind the school in a wooded area Saturday morning. Nathaniel Bell and his wife brought flowers.
It could have been my daughter, and the young lady is everybody's daughter because she's a member of the community.
What the new tip was this weekend was go back.
Here we go.
It was go back, she's there, look again, and they did give more specific details in terms of where to look.
Investigators confirmed today they are now investigating that tip that led them back to the school to search for a second time and directly to Kada's body Saturday.
Now,
Kada was reported missing on October 4th after arriving at her overnight.
Now, again, we already know about all this other part, but that is for damn show. They should be tracing back that phone call. Whoever that phone call was made from, whoever made that phone call should be brought in for questioning. I don't give a damn if it was an anonymous call. Don't worry, you can call in anonymously. You're telling people to show up to a specific spot to find her remains at that specific spot. That's a big deal. Now, here's the thing. I know some people are asking, like, maybe he confessed to somebody. That's possible. Maybe he didn't. Maybe that person was right there the entire time. And then things were getting too hot, or they felt bad about her, people out here desperately trying to find her. And then they said, okay, you know what? I have, the right thing to do is just let them, you know what I mean? I mean, that's pretty insane for you to know exactly where the body is specifically. Now, could this person have been confessed to? Like maybe he confided into somebody? Possibly. But I'm going to tell you this. I still do find it weird that he still turned himself in. And I keep wondering why. Why did he turn himself in? What's up with the sudden change of heart? Because again, if these remains are indeed of another person, which they clearly are, and he's gotten away with it, and let's say he's connected to this other remains that were found in that area. He's gotten away with it before, so what makes him suddenly turn himself in now? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why suddenly the change of heart? Why suddenly the change of heart? Like I said, it's not every day that you hear about these people, like these serial monsters, for example. I'm just using serial monsters for a second. It's not every day that you hear about a serial monster that just walks in and goes, okay, I did all of this. I did it. I'll tell you where all the bodies are buried, right? It's not every day you see something like that. It's not. So it makes you wonder, what's up with that? Unless he knew that they were hot on his trail and he said, F it, I'm going to get in front of this so that my sentencing won't be as harsh. But if he had anything to do with her unaliving, and the possible other bodies that might be in that area, he's going to be gone for a long time, y'all. Okay? Yeah, I mean, the classic one just said, he's trying to one-up the cops. Maybe. Just like Jake the Fake. Yeah, you're right. It's a legal strategy. Maybe. But here's the thing, though. With Jake the Fake, he didn't get no plea deal. There is no plea deal with Jake the Fake. Whatever he gets thrown at him, he gonna take it. Just like when he eventually drops the soap. So again, very interesting stuff, right? Now, of course, to me, very big deals that are going on here, okay? Now, the question is, and here's the Hollis, I was just about to say this, like an entire other person, we have not heard about that. They just said another set of remains have been found and that they're testing those remains. That's what they said, all right? Now, my belief is that they're going to run the tests and we're going to find out that there is another body or another person that lost their life and was put in a shallow grave in the same area. Because remember, some people are going to sit there and say maybe it's her, maybe it's parts of her. No, it's not. I truly believe if she was, let's just say if she was separated, do you get what I'm saying? If she was separated in any kind of way, they would have done everything they could to comb the area to make sure that they had all 10 fingers and toes, all of her anatomy, right? Before they said this area is clear, okay? Additional remains have been found. That is a very big deal, okay? So she, I believe, was intact. I mean, obviously, if you get what I'm saying, I'm sure it's blunt force trauma or something like that took her life. But we'll find out more information, of course, as they get closer to this, as we get closer to finding more truths about what's going on here. But the fact that they said additional has nothing to do with her. They would not report that. Because you realize how sloppy that would be if they're like, oh, yeah, we forgot a thumb or in a pinky toe here and there. No, that'd be dumb if she was separated. Also, she was not gone long enough for there to be that severe of deterioration. She was not found in the frunk of a Tesla, y'all. Okay? In a black bag in the hottest, month of the year in Cali, right? Where her body would deteriorate like that. No, she was only gone for a short amount of time. And then her body was found. They never said her body was separated or anything of that sort. Her body was intact. I hate to say it like that, but these are all important information for you to understand when they say, especially when they say additional remains have been found. Additional. That's a massive deal. Who could that be? Who could that be? So again, we got to find out, right? We got to wait and we got to find out. But nonetheless, it's a very big deal. That's a very big deal. And that could also mean that this guy is an absolute diabolical monster that has done this more than once. He already has a history of, well, first off, remember, he's a suspect in a prior R case. He has a third victim that had an active protection order from him. A third victim. And that active protection order was still issued until 2027. Let's not forget the other one where he was trying to break into two girls' home. Hop the fence and everything. Thinking that he's Spider-Man. Right? The girls think the coast is clear. So they walk out of the house and he pounces on one of them, grabs them, throws them in his car with his 2-year-old in the back seat as he continued to try to put his paws on her and do very, very bad things. That's 4 victims right there, y'all. Suspect in our case, you got a protective order, an active protective order. You got 2 girls that were basically attacked while one of them got taken by him. She ran off. Remember, this is also the same case where there was a trial, a court date, and she did not show. The victim did not show because she was that terrified. So those charges were dropped. And then you got Kada. So you got a serial monster already. He's a serial offender already. Is it possible that Kada is not the only M victim here? Additional remains have been found. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. Let us continue on, though. We got more. And what I find very strange is I even went in and I was Googling this morning, just trying to find any pieces of information. I'm going, my God, additional human remains have been found. What the F? I'm Googling. Found nothing about anyone talking about this. And I'm going, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any earthly sense. This should be what everyone should be talking about this. The hell? So again, very interesting stuff. But I got more. So we've already seen the video of Gabby. I did a whole video by itself. In fact, let me grab that here real quick. Let me grab that right quick. So you guys can go check that out when you get some time. Boom. Let me pin that to the top of the chat right quick. All right. Highly recommend you guys go check that out. It is pretty insane. I'm just going to say that out loud. And it's a very, very interesting and real thing. She did a whole video about this. Okay. Now, 1 second, y'all. Oh, come on. 1 second, y'all. Shimon.
Gabby.
Okay. So there's a couple things I do want to share with y'all, okay? So Kada's aunt, okay?
So
Kada Scott's aunt did a couple videos on her TikTok. Now she's if I'm correct, I don't want to say anything, mislabel her or anything, but she is like a clairvoyant. All right. She said a bunch of things before. What the hell?
So update.
Okay. So she said a bunch of things before Kada Scott was found. Now I'm going to be real. Okay. I'm somebody who, I feel like I consider myself fairly spiritual in all that as well. There are, I still, I side eye certain things like this from time to time. Okay. There are a lot of people out here that do some really, really amazing, content, really good work out here when it comes to talking about certain cases and all that. And then some I think are just making things up. Okay. Like they just make things up for the sake of making things up. Now, her auntie came onto her TikToks, and I want to share a couple of these things. I think it's some interesting stuff. Is it 110% correct? I don't know. But I do think it's interesting that she had a few theories and a few visions for herself that actually were on point. Okay. Very interesting stuff. So let's just take a look at a couple of these things. All right. Because I do think that these are very interesting and very telling as well. This is her auntie. So let's take a listen.
On my niece, Kada Scott. Y'all know I'm spiritual. Y'all know I'm a two-headed doctor, treater, seer, all above. To give you an update, of course, this particular case that I solve unsolved cases all the time before it's authorities, the news, things of that sort, and people revert back to my page like, oh my gosh, you were right, da 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 da. Update on my niece. I don't want to say too many things that I know what is happening right now, based out of respect for the family. For me, I understand more better because of who I am and how I carry in the spirit world, things of that sort. I will tell you this: my niece is still in the area of between the job and the park. That's what I will tell you.
You heard that, right? Between the job and the park. Okay. Let's continue. All right. This is before, obviously, this is before Kada Scott was actually found. I want to make that abundantly clear. I think this is, yeah, I think it's interesting, right? So let's continue.
Yeah, I would tell you that there's 3 people involved. I would tell you that one person has dreadlocks. I would tell you that the job doesn't know what something is going on with it. I will tell you that my niece got in a car to sit with the parties, and it wound up being a drive-off situation into an argument. It is not sexually that's involved. It is a lot of, assault and things of that sort, and that led to. It's a transition situation. So that's the update. So if you ever want to have updates on what's going on with my niece or my son's cousin, then yeah, here's my page. And we will find Kada. And her spirit is very strong. And, continue to pray for the family. I shield my son and protect my son and allow spirit to do what it does. I will elaborate on this more once the case is resolved because I feel like it's more appropriate. But that's just enough for now.
Okay. So she obviously said this a few days before, a little while before Kada's body was found. One thing that's very interesting that, she's not very far, or she wasn't very far from her workplace, that one of the guys has dreadlocks, etc. I think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting. And then after, of course, finding out all this information or finding Kada, how that certain things are kind of connected or, are kind of being confirmed by that, I think is very interesting. Right now, she says she's a seer. Okay. And all that. And so this is just the information that she's saying that she's seeing. Now, I want to share with you guys another video. Okay. She talks a little bit more about that there are more people involved, right? She did mention that in the other one, but she kind of tapped in on that, but she talks about it more in this live. And here's like a clip from that actual live. I think this is very interesting, right? And Easter, I agree 110%. This is the kind of stuff that maybe she needs to go and talk to a detective. But here's the other thing too. All right. It's not like, these detectives and cops look like they take seers and clairvoyants seriously. You see what I'm saying? So again, in a way, you got to take a lot of this with a grain of salt. Like I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything of that sort. It's just that a lot of people will be like, yo, I need more facts rather than just feelings, right? I got a feeling it's this. I got a feeling it's that. You see what I'm saying? Police are going to sit there and go, we need facts. We need facts, right? But, it is what it is. So let's continue. I want you guys to hear this as well.
Is best friends with Keon. Keon is the perp. Gabby Gabby's best friends with him. So everybody's like, Breezy, you was right. It was a light-skinned girl vibe. Because what happened was, when I see my vision, it's two girls. They have on blue t-shirts. And one is light-skinned, high yellow, with two braids in her head. And she looks at me, and it's another girl. She's not as light as her, but she's in the like, she's like my complexion. So she turns her head. So I'm like, they was demonic though. So I'm like, why is they looking at me like this? But this is a vision, like right here. So I've been saying this a long time as well. And then next thing you know, Gabby comes up. Now, Gabby is the girl that they went down Southwest Philadelphia to the house because of Kada phone pinged in the park. Once it pinged in the park, it pinged to Southwest Philadelphia. So the house that they pinged it to was where Gabriella was at. So Gabriella said she didn't know Kada. Then she lied and said she did know Kada because she was getting pressured. So next thing you know, the phone was pinged back. Oh, fuck, another thing a little just came. She was pinged back. Thank you, Spirit. I love you, Spirit. I swear I love my tribe and my ancestors for what they do. All right, so that was a moment. So whatever the case is, she was pinged back to the phone in the area of Ada Lewis School. It was pinged back to Ada Lewis School based upon that's where they originally was at when she showed me that she was there. So when that call said help, she was letting me know I was close. She was letting me know, like, you here, Breezy, I'm Breezy, whatever the fuck you want to say. All right, baby, I'm sorry. She was like, it was like she was here. So next thing you know, after that happened, everybody was like, we need to go to the, certain places. So as I'm watching the news, I'm like, wait, white man. I'm like, hold. That go the white truck I was talking about. His car, the gray car was sitting across the street, and they go the white truck. Somebody found his Instagram, same car before it got crashed up. So we know it's him. Moving along, not to bounce all over the place. So Gabby is best friends with him. Now, it was a little girl on TikTok that everybody brought to my attention when she was talking about him and how she knew him. Now, her best friend is the girl who gave me the info. And she lied to me because she didn't know. She told me she didn't know him before. But apparently the girl was on there talking about Kada, how she walks her dog and, things like that. And they, all the above. So that's stalker. That's a stalker. I said, she was jealous. I said, she was having fucking Keon. I said, and she knew what Keon was about to do to Kada because Keon asked her, where do Kada live at? Where does she work at? And all the above. Now,
hold on now. Here's the thing. She says that he was asking Gabby basically all of this information. And here's the thing. That could very well be what it is. Remember, when Gabby did her whole video, like I said, I pinned it to the top of the chat, so go check it out for yourself. She basically was like, she was kind of downplaying it because she's trying to come. I understand. She doesn't want any more heat. She don't want no more drama. You see what I'm saying? Because people were going on lives and talking trash and saying certain things. And, she's like, wait a second. You guys got this all twisted. You got this all messed up and all wrong. Hold up. You know what I mean? And so very interesting stuff, right? And I may pull up a little bit of that video for you guys to see here live with me too, just so you guys can see it for yourself. But at the end of the day, very, very interesting stuff. Okay. Right. Very, very strange. Very, very interesting. I'm going to play a little bit more of this because there's a little bit more in this video, but it is interesting how Gabby, in her video is kind of downplaying it. Like, yeah, I was just talking to him, he was asking questions about her or whatever. And then, this, that, and the third happened and whatever. And it's like, well, wait a second. Wait a second. Something is going on here for sure. Now, did she have something to do with it? Maybe, maybe not. Right. She may have just given information, not, unbeknownst to her, like we've talked about before. But let me, let's play a little bit more of this. Okay.
Knew Kada already. It's not a mystery he didn't know Kada. He definitely knows Kada. I want y'all to understand, it was never that he was a stranger to Kada. He knew Kada. He knew who Kada was as a person. Kada knew him as a person. But it was not supposed to go to this level because Kada was not in a relationship with him. She was in a relationship with somebody else.
We heard about that too, that she was in a relationship with somebody else, or she was out on a date. Now we're hearing this from her aunt, right? Her aunt Bree is basically saying, yeah, you know, that she was in a relationship with somebody else. But all I've heard is that she went on a date with somebody, right? And then she went on a date with somebody right before she went to work. If I have that information correct, she went on a date with somebody, finished the date early enough because she had work at 10 p.m. Went back home, changed, left for the job after her date. Okay. So again, something interesting.
Not getting up here. She was in a relationship with somebody else. So with that being said, as she was in a relationship with somebody else, let me give you the downloads because I don't want to be all over the place. And my downloads, that's what they do. All right, so earlier we was talking about it.
Hold on. Something that I was just thinking in my head. What are the chances of her going on this date and he was following her this entire time? Think about that for a second. Could it be that maybe he was following her from the date on? So she went out on a date. I don't know. I think it was like something like she said, I don't know, some that she was Top Golf or something like that, or bowling or something, right? And then she went from there and went back home to change to go to work. So she did the date, went to work, or got dressed for work, left to go to work, went inside, was there for 20 to 40 minutes, and then she walked right back out to talk to this guy. Because, you know, still it makes you wonder, how would he know where she worked at unless he is either following every move she made or she told him where she worked to maybe, you know, get the hookup. Yeah, I'm at the, you know, I forgot the name of the assisted living place, but you know what I mean? I'm at this assisted living place on Chestnut Hill or whatever it's called, right? And he's like, I bet, and he comes through. She still went outside for a reason. So again, you know, it does make you wonder. Okay. It does make you wonder, but let me play a little bit more. I just want you guys to hear this. You know what I mean? Hear this side. I think it is interesting. It may not be correct. It may not be completely on point, but it is interesting that this is her aunt. She is part of the family, and her family member is giving information, right? So I think it's important to just hear everything and just, you know, so that we can start piecing put the pieces to the puzzle a little bit together ourselves, right?
The girl that gave me the jewels, she told her best friend that was talking about Kada on live, she needs to call the police and tell the police what she knows. The girl was like, I'm not telling anybody anything. So apparently the girl said that Keon told Gabby that what he did with Kada, and don't tell nobody where Kada was, what me asking about where Kada at and where she lived at and where she worked at. Because Kim didn't play that, nobody know where she lived at. So that's how I know for a fact he didn't know where she lived at. So the girl told, and Gabby promised not to say nothing about what he did to Kada. So Gabby goes to school in Maryland. So the girl was talking about that. You had to go see her live with the TikTok. Some people saved it. I don't know. Hey.
Okay.
Hold on.
And you get what's going on here, okay? Or you get what she's saying about what she feels like she knows, right? I do think it's very interesting. Okay. Does it mean that it's 100%? No, but I do think it's interesting nonetheless. And it does make you wonder, what else does she know, or what else is out there, right? And is Gabby connected to this whole thing? is she the one? Because you could still do bad things from another state. Okay? Real talk. Plenty of people out here that can do all kind. Yeah, she lives right here, blah, blah, blah. Go F her up, bro. Takes 2 seconds to do that, y'all. Real talk. 2 seconds to do that. Now, here's something that is also interesting because, I've been, people have been reaching out and all that. And there was somebody that did mention that they were out there searching for her. And they were literally in that area. They were out there searching for Kada on that school grounds. And they apparently were like, yeah, we walked right on top of her. We did not know that she was there. That's how crazy that information is as well. Okay? Like that. That's crazy. That they were out there searching for her only to not find her, but she was there. Now, of course, there's theories out here as well, and I'm just putting out the theories, okay? I'm just putting out the theories. I know everybody, everybody.
Is there anything that you may?
I know that everybody feels some type of way about this situation, okay? But one thing is for sure, okay? Hold on. I just want to pull up the video one last time. One thing is for sure. There are a lot of people that were out there. They were trying to find her. There's countless TikTok videos out here of people trying to find her. Okay. And they were saying that she was walking around literally they were walking around and they said we walked on top of her. We did not know that she was in the ground. Now, there's a theory that's been going on out here that people are thinking that maybe she was put there later. That cops left, search ended, and then somebody went out there and buried her in a shallow grave. And then the anonymous tipster came out and said, go over there. Right? Get on over there. You're going to find her right there in this specific area. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't think that. I think that her body was there. They just didn't look at the ground. I think a lot of them were expecting. I think everybody that was out there trying to find her. I think that they were out there thinking that she was just going to be found wrapped up in a bag or wrapped up in some covers or something like that, or discarded on above ground in a bush or in somewhere. You see what I'm saying? That's what I truly think. I think a lot of people were thinking that she was going to be found above ground. So they didn't think to look underground, right? So that part, right? I think that's something that, and again, if she was above ground, then, obviously there would be a lot more. I think her body would be, deterioration would have set in, those kind of things, given the fact that her body was above ground, right? If her body was above ground. But given the fact that her body was not above ground and it was in a shallow grave, I think that's some very interesting stuff there too, right? I think, did somebody just say that? I think somebody said something like, yeah, would account for her delayed decomposition though, right? So if she was underground, away from sunlight, nature, if you will, you know what I mean? The harshness of the environment, that would, right? So again, like I said, some very, very interesting stuff here. And again, you got additional remains found in the area that Kada Scott's body was found. That is absolutely massive, massive information on top of the fact that her body was found out there. Here's the other thing too. I know that there's a lot of theories out here. A lot of people are thinking hey, he was given that car. He didn't steal that car himself. He was given that car. It was a stolen car, but he was given that stolen car. and then that's what he was able to go and do all these bad things. I don't know about all that. What they have said so far is that he is the one who stole the car, and then he ran off doing all these bad things, and that his phone pings in the area where that car was lit on fire. Also, that his hoopty, his 1999 Toyota Camry, okay, was found in the same parking lot as the rec hall where that car was discarded at, was left behind at, that black 2008 Hyundai Accent that he was driving around in. So clearly, like I said before, this was premeditated. That's without question. This whole doggone thing was premeditated. He either stole that car or was given a stolen car on October 3rd, which, let me be real, he stole that car, all right? He stole that car on October 3rd. October 4th, he went out and he took that young woman, Kada. And then God knows what else he did, right? Then he tried to light that car on fire, discarded that car, let it be. And then he took this young woman and put her in that abandoned elementary or middle school's schoolyard and put her in a shallow grave. Now, I truly think that literally, as cops were looking for her, she was already in that shallow grave. I just want to I want to make that abundantly clear. I know people have their theories, thinking that maybe cops were like, well, she's not here, and then overnight somebody went and put her in that area. I don't see that happening. I just don't. She was already there. I just don't think police were thinking of looking for her underground. They were looking for bushes off to the side somewhere, stashed somewhere in some disturbing type of way above ground. Then they got that anonymous tip and they went back to that specific area and they found her there. So again, some very interesting stuff. Now, I just want to play just a tiny bit of this because we got to get into the David Celest conversation, because there is some stuff going on with David and Celeste, and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you guys about it. Okay. So again, we're going to be talking about that. Beautiful messy ball. Yeah. Like I said, there's been a lot of internet issues in my area. There's been a lot of storms and all that, so my internet is not so great. It's choppy as hell, but you know, we're getting through it, and we're doing it. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't need an upgrade fund, but I appreciate the super sticker or the super chat. Okay. I'm hoping that after this show, I'll be on the phone with the internet again, you know, yelling at them about everything, but nonetheless, okay. Nonetheless, my internet is crappy right now, but you guys are able to hear me. You're able to see what's going on. And I think that's, you know, it may be a little blurry, but it is what it is. You're able to see what needs to be seen. Okay. Now, really quick, I just want to play a tiny bit of this. I don't want to play the whole doggone thing. Okay. Because we got things to do. All right. And thank you, Kick Rocks. I appreciate the love and all that. Okay. Thank you so much for becoming, you know, a follower, a subscriber and all that. Okay. Thank you so much. But like I said, okay. Yeah, I know you're teasing. I appreciate you too, beautiful messy ball. So again, like I said, there's a lot that's going on here. I just want to play a little bit of this Gabby video because I think it's very interesting. And I know I can see why everybody's side-eyeing the hell out of this woman. I get it. I fully get it. But at the same time, she may not have anything to do with this. But then also at the same time, there's still a good possibility she has a lot to do with this. You know what I'm saying? It takes 2 seconds to make a phone call and say, yeah, go get her. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Takes 2 seconds to do that. So let's take a listen to a little bit of this. I'm not playing the whole thing because it's long, and you guys can go click on the link at the top of the chat. All right? Thank you, Melody. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'm going to be discussing some of the misinformations that are going around in the internet regarding me and the Kada Scott situation.
I first off want to say this too. You could tell she's terrified. All right. Gabby's terrified. Listen to her voice. Hear it in her voice. She's nervous. Could it be because she has something to do with this? Or is it because she's nervous that the internet's going after her hard in the paint right now? I'm thinking it's the latter part, that she's like, yo, people are thinking that I'm connected to this whole thing. I have nothing to do with this, man. I'm an innocent. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm going to play a little bit of this, all right? Not the whole doggone thing. We got other stories to cover.
So if you are unaware, Kada Scott is a girl that went missing in Philadelphia on October 4th. So I did know Keon. He was my friend. I met him about 4 or 5 years ago, and he was also the local pharmacist. Now, me and my best friend, we were also mutual friends with Keon. He was our pharmacist. So one day Keon calls me, and keep in mind, I am in school, I am in Maryland, and he will usually just call me, just to check up and talk. So he calls me and he asks me if I know Kada. And I'm like, yeah, I know Kada. And he's like, oh yeah, I noticed that she lives really close to you. I'm like, yeah, she lived right in the back of me. And I'm not thinking nothing of it because he usually calls me and, we just be chatting. He'll call me about the people that be around because he is the pharmacist. I live in the neighborhood and he be in my neighborhood. So we hang up the phone and that was that.
Okay, real quick. Do you really think? Okay, let me just say this, okay? If you know what kind of guy Keon King is initially, are you going to try to be friends with that person? Think about it for a second. Okay? Yeah, he's a pharmacist, okay? He out here. He the plug. He got that hookup, okay? It means he moves substances, y'all. That's basically what it means. Straight up and down like 6 o'clock. It means he moves weight. He's the hookup. He's the plug. He got them, substances, those party favors, okay? Trees, pills, you name it. You name it. He got it all, okay? Just so you know, because I know some of y'all like, pharmacist, what does that mean? Come on. Now, here's the thing. If you know how dangerous a particular person is, are you going to be friends with that mother lover? I mean, I'm asking for a friend. Okay? I'm asking for a friend. Are we really going to be friends with the likes of a Keon King? I'm going to tell you what. I'm trying to stay as far away from the likes of any kind of Keon King. I don't know about y'all. And if you're a female and you may know that this guy is crazy, are you going to want to run around and be in any kind of relationship with a monster like this? The streets aren't talking about him and how dangerous he is, especially towards women. Seems a little bit weird, don't you think? Remember the charges that he has been, remember the other charges and other female victims. You're telling me the streets aren't talking? Weren't talking? I get it. Maybe you keep a nice distance from the person and you try to be on his good side so he doesn't go and attack you. I could see that. You know what I mean? It's like almost like the enemy is my enemy. Keep your enemies close. Keep your friends closer and your enemies closer type thing, right? But on some real stuff, you got a guy out here that's known to be a monster, and you friends with. It's just weird. It's just weird. Let me continue. It's just weird. It's just weird, y'all.
We were only on the phone for 29 seconds. So you can see that this is the day that he called me, and this was before Kada went missing, and we were only on the phone for 29 seconds.
Okay. Now everybody's looking at this conversation that happened only for 29 seconds. It could take 29 seconds to be like, yeah, she lives right here. This is what this is where she goes to school or goes to work at. Go and get her. I mean, it's really easy to do that. Takes 2 seconds to do that, does it not? She's right here. She's that. Go get her. You see what I'm saying? Think about it for a second. You know, if we're looking, okay, I'm looking at both sides of I'm hopping on both sides of the fence, okay? Where she's done something bad or she has nothing to do with this, okay? 29 seconds of a conversation with him could mean a bunch of different things. 29 seconds is a decent amount of time to be a part of or help out in a crime. I'm just saying. Or just have a stupid conversation, right?
So I know that his name says Elliot in my phone. That's just what we call him. So a couple of days after that, my best friend calls me and, you know, we're just talking about life. And I mentioned to her how Keon brought up Kada to me. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, oh yeah, like he was probably trying to flirt with her. He's probably trying to get at her. Mind you, me and my best friend, we know Kada because we grew up with her little sister. Now, we didn't know Kada personally because, again, we grew up with her little sister. We were around 12, 11 years old. Kada, she was much older than us, so we didn't really talk to her. So my best friend was like, oh, yeah, like he probably thought she was cute, and that was that. So right here is the day that I called my best friend and told her that, you know, Keon was trying to get at Kada. This is before she went missing.
I want to point this out, too. This ain't her best friend no more. You want to know why I know this? Because it says blocked under D's name. So clearly they ain't best friends no more. All right? They ain't best friends, y'all. Not anymore, at least. You're blocking your best friend. Why are you blocking your best friend? Okay. Moving on, though. Just going to play a little bit more.
So a couple days, maybe a week after that, it is reported on October 4th that Kada is missing. So keep in mind, I am in Maryland, so I'm not really into all the Philadelphia news that be going on. So I'm not knowing that Kada is missing until my best friend sends me a text and says that Kada is missing. So this is the day that my best friend tells me that Kada is missing on October 9th. So I'm in my friend's dorm and I call Keon and it's a lot of music and a lot going on in the background. So I go somewhere that's quiet and I tell him, Keon, Kada is missing. Like that girl, she's missing. So he was like, what? And then after that, the phone just hung up.
Okay. Now, the question is, does anybody believe what she's saying here or no? She called him. He picks up and she's like, yo, the girl that you were asking about is gone. She's missing. Holy cow. And he goes, word, click. That don't seem a little weird to you? And that's it? That's it? You didn't bother. Hold on. You didn't even bother to go back and call him back? And be like, I guess you had faulty connection or something. You know, blame it on the internet, okay, the signal or something like that. Yo, you good? Yo, I'm telling you, Kada's missing. Why'd you hang up? But what did she do?
So here you can see that I called Keon and we were on the phone for 2 minutes. So you have to keep in mind, this was my friend. Okay, I did not think that he could be capable of anything like this. In my head, I'm just thinking, there's no way in the world he could have did something like this. There's no way in the world. So
okay, so you hear in her voice, there's no way in the world that he would do something like this. I never thought he would do anything like this. How do you not know that this guy has a history of absolute chaotic violence? How would you not know? Like I said, you're telling me he's also the pharmacist. I mean, how would you not know? Then that's the other thing. Okay, so there's a 29-second phone call, 29-second phone call that she made or had with him before Kada went missing, and he called her to be like, "Hey, what do you know about Kada?" And she's like, yeah, so she's this, works at this spot. So what about her? Nah, I was just curious, I just know that y'all are neighbors and everything, right? That can happen in 29 seconds. And she's like, whatever. Like, I got things to do, so that's weird. Why was he calling me about all that? right? That's possible. What do you know about Kada? Right? Possible. Yeah, she lives, she lives right around the corner, blah, blah, blah. She's right next to me or lives right behind me, blah, blah, blah. All he has to do is do that reverse math. Oh, she's right behind you? Okay, word, right? Right? So, skip forward. She goes missing. The last person she talked to about Kada was him. And he was very interested and curious about her. So he's like, yo, or she says, yo, the girl we just talked about, Kada, she gone. She's gone. And he says, word? Oh, hang up. Right? Click. Huh? Instantly, I'm going, what the hell is that all about? I'm calling him right back and asking him questions. Wait, do you know something? I'm asking all the questions. Right? But that's not what she does.
Then a couple of days after that, my mom sends me a screenshot of Keon turning himself in for the kidnapping of Kada. So this is my mom sending me the article, and she was distraught to say the least. And I know she said that he was a random person, but she says this about all my friends. So me and my best friend, we get on the phone and we're talking about the situation. We're just saying how this is just crazy. This is the call of me and her talking about it. Now, this is all happening around the time that I'm taking my midterms. So I'm really just trying to keep my head on the books. And I wasn't really trying to let this stress me out. So I kind of just let it go. He turned himself in. It's not really much to say or do anymore. So a couple days after that, me and my best friend get on the phone and we're basically just, talking about the Kada situation. And she says that she thinks that I should call the cops. So she was basically saying that she thinks that I should call the cops and tell them that Keon was, asking about Kada. Now, at the time in my head, I'm thinking that there was no reason to call the cops. He already turned himself in, and I felt like it would be kind of a waste of time to tell them that the guy that they already have in custody, called me and was asking about the girl.
I'm sorry. This is the moment where I go, okay, you lost me there. Okay. You mean to tell me that you have information about the disappearance of a neighbor, and the guy who actually is the one who made her disappear is also a friend of yours that called days before her disappearance asking questions about her. And then also on top of it, he's the one who actually turned himself in. And you're not willing to go to the police and tell them what you know? You lost me right there, sweetheart. Sorry. You lost me right there. Okay? Come on now. Come on now. Like, see what I'm saying? You had a whole phone conversation with him, and he's like, word? She's missing. Click. That's not suspect. He called you before asking, hey, what you know about Kada? That's weird. That didn't look sus as hell as well. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Then, of course, she later on says that, she and her best friend were basically kind of going at it because her best friend, not so much a best friend anymore, she blocked her. Obviously, we saw that in the screenshots, but she even, they were obviously butting heads because she was like, her friend was sitting there going like, do the right thing. Oh my God. This is a girl that's missing and she's in your neighborhood and she's the older sister to one of your friends. What are you doing? If you got this information, call the cops now. And she's like, I don't understand. I got things to do. I got midterms to worry about. The hell? That's weird. That makes no sense, y'all. Okay? It's dumb. Dumb, I say. It's dumb. Hold on real quick. Hollis, thank you so much. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome to the family, all you new members. I appreciate it. Put some purple heart emojis if you can in the chat for Hollis. I appreciate it. Now, all I ask you guys to do as well is to pay it forward. We need more positivity in the world. So, open the door for somebody, do something nice for somebody, so on and so forth. Okay? It's the simple things that make this world spin in a much more positive direction. Okay? So please do that for me. All right. But yeah, like, it would not be when it comes to this, this whole thing here. Let me just pull her back up here. This is not a waste of time. How is it a waste of time calling up police and letting them know what you know? And even so, let's just be real. Because later on, the cops did tell her, like, well, we now have him, so we don't need this information anymore. But we appreciate you letting us know. But that was after her friend was going in on her, basically saying, what the hell is wrong with you? This is a person that you know. You're friends with her sister. And you still aren't willing to go and give out information, whatever they need to take this monster down. And the fact that you had information even before that, before he even turned himself in, and you said nothing about it. That's insane too. So I get people being, definitely feeling some type of way about this. Rianne, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. My nuisance of a neighbor gave my number to the hospital and told him I'm her next of kin. What? I'm definitely not a Caucasian next of kin. I know I'm mixed, but come on, man. So done with her crap. That's creepy. That's really creepy. How are you? What? That doesn't make any sense. Why would somebody go, I'm just going to put my next of kin as my neighbor? Hell, what? You know what I mean? Like, or not next of kin, or my emergency contact is my neighbor. You'd think something like that would be like, yeah, wouldn't you want to go to that person first and ask if it's okay to make them your next, or make them their emergency contact or something like that? That's just dumb. That's just dumb. But wow, that's creepy. Hospital rang you twice? That is weird, Rianne. That's weird. You need to talk to your neighbor. You need to have a real conversation with your neighbor and say, please take me off your list, because we ain't friends like that. We ain't tight. We ain't even family. So what the hell are you doing? I feel like something like that is very, very, very intimate and very personal, right? That's weird, y'all. That's weird. But like I said, that information from Gabby, okay, go check out my full video. It's pinned to the top of the chat right now as we speak. I think it is a very interesting piece of video. And I think that there's a lot of people that are very torn. Like, it split the room. Some people are like, hey, she's innocent. She didn't really know what was going on. She just, unbeknownst to her, helped this monster find Kada, right? And then there's, of course, the other side that thinks that, no, she has everything to do with this. She is jealous. She felt some type of way about this infatuation that Keon had with Kada. I don't know. You can see it both ways. I can see it both ways. A 29-second video, a 29-second phone conversation could literally go as such. Hi. Yeah. You know that girl Kada? Yeah. Well, yeah. Can you tell me what's her story, man? What's her story? I mean, she does this, and this. My God, why are you calling me about it? Bye. Click. You see what I'm saying? It could be that. Or it could be another way, right? That phone conversation that was 29 seconds long. F that girl. I don't like her at all. Blah, 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 blah. She's so stuck up her own ass. She thinks she's so beautiful and all that. Have you seen her stuff on Instagram? It could be like that too. She's nothing. Right? She's too snobby. She's this, and this. Nose stuck up in the air. Whatever she's calling her. Could be that too. Okay? So again, we're going to have to, see what's going on. Renee, yeah, Gabby has a new video. She's getting threats. Yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard about that as well. And again, like if she really is getting threats, then damn, that's insane. Listen, later on in the video, okay, which I recommend you guys go check it out. Like I said, pinned at the top of the chat, she did say that her friends went onto a live. They were so distraught at the fact that she was not willing to go to the police and tell police the information that she knew, that they went onto a live and they were going in. They were going in on Gabby, at least in her perspective and what she was saying, that they were exaggerating the truth. They were exaggerating things. They were making certain things up and all that. Okay. And I think that's really interesting. Okay, hold on. Somebody's saying something about Ratchet TV.
And is there anything?
Hold on, let me see. Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable taking somebody else's video. You see what I'm saying? Like their interviews and all that. I don't feel comfortable playing their stuff without their permission. You see what I'm saying? Like playing their, if he had an exclusive interview with somebody, that kind of thing. Like, I just rather, I'm not trying to be rude, but I definitely will take a look at this video when the show's over. Okay. But yeah, I don't feel right just taking the guy's video without him giving me the thumbs up or thumbs down. You know what I mean? And I would hope that people do the same for me. I know that people don't. There's a lot of mother lovers out here that just take stuff and repurpose it. But at the same time, I'll take a look at it when the show is over. Okay. I appreciate you sending it to me though. Real talk. So here's the thing. Okay. So we have seen our fair share. We've seen our fair share of this whole Kada Scott situation. What's wild is that, like I said, an additional remains have been found. They're going to do their due diligence, and hopefully we will find out if this is, hopefully we'll find out very, very soon who those remains are. And of course, if there's any connection to Keon King. There may not be any connection. It could just be another situation where there was another, tragic thing that happened to a victim that has no connection to Keon King, which would be wild. It would be wild if that was the case, yo. But like I said, we're going to have to hold tight and wait and see what comes of that. But we have got to go into the more conversations of, hold on. Yes, there it is. We've got to get into more conversations here because there's been a lot that's been going on with the David Celest situation. Okay. There's a lot going on. Except here's the thing. We're not hearing a lot of information from police. We're hearing everything from private eyes. Okay. Yeah, Kick. Yeah, internet is not so great. It is what it is. Okay. Like the internet seems to be pretty prominent and good right now. But yeah, for the show, it's been a little weird. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. Trying to give you guys the information and trying to give you your stories for the day. All right. So we're just going to keep on rocking. But here's the thing. When it comes to David and Celeste, remember, Celeste Rivas's remains were found in the front trunk of a Tesla. All right. That Tesla belongs to this man with the hair, David. Okay. And a lot of people have been wanting to know what the hell is going on. Police have not been saying anything. We haven't heard a damn thing from police. But now we got private eyes that have been doing their due diligence and getting the information, getting as much information as they can. And yes, okay, Desiree, this story in this case is absolutely insane. It makes no earthly sense, okay? We're all still trying to figure it out. We're all still trying to figure this ish out. And hopefully, we get down to the bottom of this sooner rather than later. Here's something that's interesting. David may not have been the one driving, or may not have been the last person to drive his own car. I think that's absolutely massive. David may not be the last person to drive his own mother-loving car. And because of Stephen Fisher, he's a private investigator, he's a private eye, he was able to find out more information about this, and that's what they cover here on Law and Crime and on News Nation as well. Okay, and this is just crazy. So let's take a listen to some of this. In fact, let me head up in front here a little bit, because we already know the backstory of all of this. So let's go here.
Of the property that David was apparently staying at in Los Angeles. If you recall, authorities searched that property.
Oh, I forgot to tell you this too. So here's the thing. Stephen Fisher went out there on his own time to look into this whole case. Okay. He's just been trying to figure it out for himself. He went out there, and now he has been hired by the owner of the actual mansion that David was living in the Hollywood Hills. Okay. So the house in which they say, Celeste was living in with David and all that, that's what they were saying out here. That owner of the house that he was renting, that $20,000 a month mansion on the Hollywood Hills, that owner of that house now hired this private eye, Stephen Fisher. Okay, which is crazy. All right. Hold on real quick. Let me get this to you too. Renee, thank you so much. R.I.P. Kada Scott, Celeste Rivas, Renia Lewis, London Thomas, gone too soon. Yes, I heard about the London Thomas case too, which is absolutely insane as well. But that one's still a new case that I've been looking at as well. But again, crazy stuff here, guys. So again, he's been hired now by this millionaire, owner of this mansion, and he says a lot of stuff. Yes, we also find out that there's possibly a second home.
David moved his stuff out. The Tesla with Celeste's body was near that place too. Listen to what Fisher had to say as we try to understand the potential connection between David and Celeste.
We now have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing the Tesla being moved.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, as far as it going to the final, that what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
Do you know if Celeste was ever at that property?
What we recovered, we don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David, we assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera at different locations. And it really makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA, but
here we go. So now they're saying, okay, or now this private investigator is saying that he found out that allegedly she wasn't staying at this mansion, that she stayed in a whole other place, okay? That she stayed, in a home in downtown LA. Now, here's the thing. What are the chances of it actually being under David's name? It's very possible. He could have been renting that out so that she could stay there, so it wouldn't look so suspicious of her staying in the same house as him. You get what I'm saying? You feel me on what I'm saying? So again, very interesting stuff. Let's continue.
I will say this: there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is. There could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. It's and that's why we're trying to learn more about that, because and I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with her, how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
Oh,
so again, like I said, I think that when it comes to, him staying in this particular, like he had a whole other, place that she was staying in. Now, I know somebody said, okay, how convenient that they're saying that now, rather than saying that when, let's just say, when this was a hot topic, right? When this case was really, really hot. Why would suddenly now it's like, oh no, she never was in that house. She was over here. And I get that. I can see why people might side eye that information, solely because, let's be real, it is a real estate. The owner obviously wants to see some return on his investment. It is not a cheap piece of property. Remember, it's in the Hollywood Hills. Rent is $20,000 a month. It's no joke, right? And if he was to want to sell this home, it could mess up, right, the marketability of that house. If somebody, like a little girl, lost their lives inside that house. But I don't think that the likes of any private eye would say that information if it wasn't true. Here's the other thing, too. I can see something where David would have another home, another place that he's renting out so that his crew, his people, right, could, you see what I'm saying? There's still a possibility that he has like his entourage, his people, the people that rock with him, his little clan. It's very simple for him to go, okay, let me get another property, have y'all stay there. And then she could stay there too. Why would she? Think about it. Her staying there, it would make sense if she was to stay there and not at the mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Because clearly what he was doing with her was criminal anyway. Let's be real. But also he's like, okay, this is a spot that she could stay at and people won't be looking at me, side-eyeing me, because she's not at my home. She's at the other spot with the other people. You got to remember, it could be like I'm in the Hollywood Hills doing my thing, but here's the other spot, which is not very far from the Hollywood Hills spot, that is like a party house. We can go over there and kick it, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? And yes, Sarah Shields, there's a possibility that he was straight up hiding her. Real talk. It could very well be a situation where he was just straight up hiding her. That is very much a possibility. Okay? Because you got to remember, this particular person was not of age, and he was. So I could see him being like, okay, put her over there. Also, remember, she's also somebody who's been running away a bunch from her home. Parents, I'm sure at first were looking for her, trying to find her. They found her in the Hollywood Hills in the past. So maybe he was like, nah, I'm taking her to another spot down the street so that if they keep coming to me, I'll be like, she's not here, because it's the truth. She ain't here. I don't know where she is, which would be a lie, but you know what I'm saying. She's not here. She's 10 minutes down the road. So that if he ever has meetings, if he has anything of that stuff, anything of that sort going on, people aren't side-eyeing him, thinking that he's some nasty mother lover, right? But the fact that they said, hey, he has another property somewhere else. To me, says a lot. Okay. Now we got to go over to Banfield because she talked about this as well, bringing Stephen Fisher onto the show as well. Hold on real quick. Phantomus, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Did the police seize his Discord or go to server to look for deleted messages? Maybe we will find a timeline. Why is that still off limits? That's a good question. I don't know. Right. But that is something that I think a lot of us are still trying to figure out. Like, hey, why haven't they looked into any of that? Why haven't they seized everything? Laptops, computers, etc. Everything. It's wild that this guy is still free. Again, this guy is still free right now. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. But the fact that we are going to hear in a second that, we already heard that he said there was items in a specific home that looked like they were trying to, about to do something nefarious, that they were about to hide or try to cover up this tragedy or this crime, right? That's one thing that he said, right? But he's going to expand even more in this video as well. So let's take a look. And again, guys, please do me a favor. Again, all right, don't forget to hit the like button down below. I appreciate you guys just sticking around, rocking with me today with this crazy internet's issues that I'm having. But again, we're here. So hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and subscribe some more. Okay. I appreciate it. Okay. But again, like I said, this is just nuts. All right. So let's just hear what he's got to say. There's a lot more he says here too.
Now live. Steve, welcome back to the program. How certain are you that this video of the car driving away from David's mansion is the last time it drove and ended up at the spot where it was abandoned, likely with that body inside?
I'm certain. Listen, I can't say 100% because there's not a camera trained on that Tesla once it's parked. Continuously that I've seen. I mean, there likely is a camera, but I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, and they left town right after that. I'm certain that is the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
And there's one weird detail about what you could, well, there's a lot of weird details, and I'm going to get to what you saw through the driver's side window in a second. But there was an air freshener that was found in the car at this point that we see on our screen, where it was abandoned. Was that air freshener also hanging from the rear view mirror when it drove off from David's house?
It wasn't, but the window was half to 3/4 of the way down, which is odd because it was a very short drive. And also at that, on that day, this is the very end of July 29th, it was like 78 degrees at that time in the morning, or 77 degrees. And if it was on the street where the house is, so it's shaded by the house. So, if you're going, I don't know why the window would be rolled down unless there's something, offensive there. And then all of a sudden, one of the first things I picked up on when the news first broke about the her being found in there, where they were towing the car away from the impound lot to LAPD, was why on a $104,000 car is there a Christmas tree air freshener hanging from the from the mirror? It seemed kind of odd to me, but I guess maybe they thought that would help, mask it for when they had to move the car again.
If there was that smell at that time, because again, we have no idea when Celeste started decomposing in that trunk. We don't know if she'd been decomposing in the trunk for a long time before it ended up being, the car ended up being abandoned. But talk to me about the date of this video, July 29th, and talk to me about what you saw. What did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla, one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also, it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see. And it comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
So you got somebody rocking the same gear, got into this car, moved the car to where it is now, and he's saying he saw this guy or this person moving the car. Very distinctive person, very distinctive clothes that he's been seen wearing in other photos and other images as well. We don't know, of course, we don't know if it's a male, we don't know if it's female, but we do know that this person did move the car. Here's the other thing. He doesn't say, well, he's not going to tell us who it is. So we don't even know if it's David still. Okay? We still do not know if it's David or not that moved the car. All we know is that, yes, somebody did move the car, right? So that is very interesting.
And I know that the viewers right now are screaming at the TV set saying, Ashley, ask him who it was.
No doubt.
I mean, I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't want to, I don't want to interfere with LAPD on that. And I think that's coming because we know a crime was committed 100%. Somebody concealed her body.
Thank you. Okay. So somebody concealed her body. Someone actually moved the car. Someone is seen moving the car. He also said that there were things inside the home that were very questionable because, let's be real, he said that there were items that you can see like someone was was planning on doing something with the remains, but maybe things happened, timeline changed, etc., or they had a change of heart, got scared, anything, right? Or it's like, how am I gonna, if it wasn't David who actually put Celeste in the car and moved the car, what are the chances of him, the person who did it, is trying to find a way, to jump in and get the keys to the car again? Think about that. What if it was a friend of David's, and he put the body in the car, and it was because he had a random opportunity to get the car? But here's the other thing too, though, which makes no sense. If you really think about it, hold on, hear me out. Because during this alleged time, this David was not on tour yet around this specific time. So if the car was moved, he would have to have known the car was moved. And wouldn't he ask the question, why, if it was somebody else who moved his car, wouldn't that person who owns the car be like, yo, why did you move my car, bro? No, it was in the garage. Why did you put it out in the street? Like, there's got to be a logical explanation on why the car was moved out there, right? Aside from something sinister. And if it wasn't him that moved the car, there would have to be a logical explanation to David on why the car was being moved. Think about that for a second, guys. I for damn sure am not going to go a whole day without asking a person, hey man, why did you move my car? Why is it on the street? It was in the garage here, or it was in the driveway of this multi-million-dollar home that I'm living in. Why did you move my car, bro? There'd have to be some logical explanation behind that. Then also on top of that, let's not forget, then the car after that does not move at all. Don't you think that a little odd? After all that, car just sits there and does not move. Why? Think about it for a second. Now, here's the other thing. The reason why Stephen Fisher can't say anything is, It could compromise the investigation, etc. He can get himself in trouble for saying something, saying stuff like this, like revealing that information, right? I get it. I want to know too. But if it was an assistant or if it was David, he can't say anything. But here's the other thing too. If it was David that actually moved the car, wouldn't he be brought in already? If they have that footage, wouldn't they bring him in? But here's the other thing too, that damn, see, brain, wheels spinning. If they weren't going to do it, if they don't turn him in, why aren't they bringing anybody else in? Because I know there's been a lot of people talking about Neo, the Asian, and all that as well. Okay, his assistant / best friend, maybe his buddy. Okay, if you get what I'm saying. There's been a lot of theories going on with Neo, the Asian. Now, and that's how he go. That's his name. That's like how he goes by, Neo. Okay. Now, if Neo had something to do with this, you'd think that he would be brought in by now too, right? He'd be prime suspect, number one. Same thing with David. But nobody's been arrested. Nobody's been arrested. Nobody's been detained. Nothing. Okay? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's been rumor about Neo. There's been rumors about bodyguards. There's been rumors all day long. There was a rumor that she was pregnant, remember? That's been debunked. So again, like I said, it is interesting that he's saying, at least Stephen Fisher is sitting here going, hey, I saw the person who drove the car. Can't tell you who it is, but I saw who drove the car. Police, I'm sure, have that same footage. Still doesn't mean admission of guilt. Still does not mean smoking gun evidence. It just means somebody moved the car. Remember, what are the chances of whoever moved the car had no idea that Celeste was in the front trunk? Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Hey, man, can you move my car real quick? Yeah, bet. Say less, bro. Where do you want me to park it? Just park it down the street real quick for me. All right, bet. Unbeknownst to him or them, they're jumping in a car that has the remains of a girl in the front trunk. That's possible too. So again, like I said, I can see why maybe this information isn't just immediately being thrust out there. Like, it was such and such that drove the car. Dun, dun, dun. Because it could be that could be detrimental. That could be very damning. Because again, that is somebody who may not know anything, who may have just been asked to move the car. And the person who asked him to move the car knew exactly what they were doing it. Why they were asking them to do it, to cover their tracks. Okay? Yeah, I know. He says they, but they could mean anything. It's not smoking gun evidence. They moved the car. That could be David. That could be a girl. That could be Neo. That could be a bodyguard. That could be a girl that he smashed on a one-night stand. You never know, guys. You just never know. So again, even if it is somebody who's moving the car, the guy or that person could have been set up. Or they had something to do with it. Some very interesting stuff, though. Very, very interesting stuff. Yes, they can be singular or plural, y'all. It can mean so many different things. And he didn't say they were wearing clothing. Like, he didn't say these people. He said they were wearing clothing that was very distinct clothing that was seen in another photo of on the same day. So like I said, could mean anything, guys. All right? He's saying they to keep himself not getting in trouble for saying something that could that could, do something bad towards the investigation of that particular case. And also, imagine him saying somebody's name and then it having nothing to do with any of this and then finding himself getting sued. You got to remember, he's a private investigator. He's being paid by somebody else to do this investigation, right? The information that he's giving to Banfield or Long Crime has everything to do or should be in the possession of the person that's hiring him to do the job. It's not for Banfield. It's not for Long Crime. His job is to get out there and get the information for his client. And that's it. He's just giving us a little bit of information, right? Because he can. As far as I saw the video. I could tell you that much. But I can't tell you who the person is. Okay? And no. Not that Neo. Okay? He goes by Neo the Asian. One word. Neo the Asian. Okay? And there's been a lot of conversation, out here on the Reddit, in these Reddit streets about Neo the Asian and his close relationship with David. One thing I'm still trying to figure out is if he's an assistant for David or if he's just a really good friend, just a good friend. Now, there's been speculation of maybe they have something else going on, that there's maybe something romantic going on. I don't know about all that. I think it could just be just kind of one of those bromances. You know what I mean? But God only knows. All right. But nonetheless, there has been a lot of theory revolving around Neo the Asian, not Champagne Life, not Neo, not Neo the R&B singer, recording artist, entertainer. Okay, not him. All right. So again, crazy stuff, guys. So like I said, this is some really wild information. Of course, when we get more information, we'll be talking about it. Okay, for real. Daniel, thank you so much for the love. If the person didn't know, why put the air freshener up after parking it? That person knew, in my opinion. You know what? You got a good point there too. Unless you never know. What if the person put the thing up there just being like, damn, it stinks. This car stinks. And put the air freshener in the car. That's possible too. Okay, one thing is for sure though. I don't know about you, okay? But I am somebody who does not like smells. Especially unpleasant smells. Okay? So if I'm in that car, if I open up that car and it smells like absolute hell in there, I'm going, where's that smell coming from? I'm looking everywhere. If I don't know what's going on, and I get it, that's not my car. So I'm not looking everywhere because it ain't my business. You feel me? But if I find out, if I get in the car, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to vomit. It's bad. Man, I'm going up to my dude and going, yo, man, you got to go to your car, bro. That smells bad, homie. Yo, it smells bad. Really, really bad. Go check your car. Did you leave a gallon of milk somewhere inside of here or something? Cheese? Something? This is nasty. I'm telling him to go do it right now. In fact, I'm like, yo, let's go look at this together, right? But a tree freshener, right, is not going to be enough for a smell that bad, okay? A tree freshener is not going to be enough for a smell that bad. So instantly, I'm not just going to pull, it's like raw meat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm going, as soon as I park that car, I'm going right up to him, bro, you need to come over here now. Your car, man, something bad in there. Figure it out. In fact, I'll help you. I'll get it, I'll get the trash bag and we gonna figure this out. Cause diggity damn, this is nasty. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, that's just me, though. That's just me. Okay. But, guys, I think that's quite a bit of coverage for this morning. So that is the show. I appreciate, you know what I mean? Like, you got a car smelling that bad? Damn. I'm going up to you being like, and it's a Tesla. You know what I mean? And it's a Tesla. The hell is wrong with you? Clean it up. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Make sure before you head out, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. If we get more information, when we get more information about those remains that were found in the area that Kada Scott's body was found, I will let you guys know, okay? I'm at the edge of my seat waiting for that information, okay? But of course, hit that like button down below, please and thank you. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button. Subscribe. Don't forget to hit that follow button, please and thank you. All right. Thank you so much for the support and hanging out with me. It really means the world. Hit that notification bells down below so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. All right. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. All right, guys. Anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there. And we'll be talking here very, very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.